or is it one God who's three? You understand? And we have this whole process going. And one of the problems that the Jewish nation had was that they believed in one God, and yet in their teachings and in their own understanding of Scripture, they realized that there was three persons in this one being. But they had a problem with accepting this. And let me just show you an example of that again, just to get us going. And I want you to go with me to John, where Jesus is talking.
John 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, sorry, John chapter 5.
No, John 1, 2, or 3.
John, the Gospel John.
Just straight John.
Chapter 5. And
talking about that.
Jesus makes a comment, if you look from verse 16 on. So because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, the Jews persecuted him. Jesus said to them, verse 17, my Father is always...
What?
John chapter 5, verse 17.
17.
John chapter 5.
Yes, John chapter 5, verse 17.
Gosh, you people are
It's going to take a while today.
And we were all going to so early this morning and we're ready for action, and now we're all confused.
Verse 17, it says that my Father, Jesus said, my Father is always at work to this very day, and I too am working. So immediately he makes a comment. My Father's working and I'm working. He does something. Then listen to what the Jews understood. Verse 18. For this reason, the Jews tried all the harder to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. You understand?
Yeah.
So the Jews had a very difficult time trying to grasp the concept of the Godhead. Now, I want us to jump to Ezekiel again. We're going to be jumping around, as you know.
Chapter?
Ezekiel chapter 8. It was the chapter that Ezekiel chapter 7. It was the chapter that our last verse came from, Ezekiel 7. And then we read there the last part of verse 27. It says that the king, Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 27, the king will mourn, the princes will be clothed with despair, and the hands of the people of the land will tremble. Then it says that I will, and this is God, deal with them according to their own conduct. I will deal with them according to their own conduct, and by their own standards. I will judge them. So God is saying something here.
Sure.
This is, I want you to pick up why I'm talking about it. In this process of sealing, God is going about it in a very interesting and unique way. What is the objective of a seal? If you had to, again, seal something, what's the purpose of sealing something? To protect it in, what do you mean? Why to protect it from what?
Well, if you're seeing something, you don't want something else to get in.
Okay, you don't want something to get in.
If you seal in marriage,
You don't want to change, yeah.
You don't want to change.
No, I think that's
you get sealed in marriage as well.
Okay, you get sealed in marriage. That means it can be tampered with. If you've got a seal and you notice, like if you get an envelope and they've sealed it, but you get the envelope back and it's kind of,
But then it's not sealed anymore.
yeah, it's been tampered with.
Yeah.
The purpose of the seal is to make sure that people understand that this cannot be tampered with anymore. If it's tampered with, it means that something's happened inside, probably. It's been changed. And when God seals, it means that He's saying, that's mine, can't touch it anymore. I have concluded that what it is, I'm happy with, it's sealed. You understand?
Just
so
a
when
quick-
you seal something, yes?
Just a quick question about what you've just said right now. So, if I'm still getting attacked by the devil, am I sealed or not?
No, it doesn't mean...
Has God said that's mine or not?
not yet.
But that's a good question. Okay, because listen to the
Because I'll be the first one to say that hey, I get attacked the whole time.
all the time.
All the
It's
time.
some- it's
Okay,
sometimes
now let's use
The closer you go to God, the stronger the devil becomes.
let's use God as an example.
No. We're not chicken house bird. I get attacked.
Let's use God.
I'm saying
He's exposing
sin.
himself, so let's
I get attacked the whole time.
God, we're using you. How do you know you're
I just took a woman as an
How do you know
example.
you're tempted?
But I mean,
How do you know you're tempted? What is it that's making you think that you're tempted?
But I mean, it's
a woman with a nice pair of boobs.
Okay, so he sees
Tempted like
he
that.
sees somebody and his attraction is taken. But what do you do in that moment?
You pray.
Well, that's what you think you're doing.
But you should pray.
But what do you do in that moment?
She's praying
Okay,
away.
I heard him the other day.
Look.
He's married an Afrikaans boere vrouw. And if he messes around, he's in trouble. She'll beat him up.
Yeah.
Why do you think I got a gym?
So you can run away from it.
But let me just say, what happens in God's brain at that moment when that goes on?
But he realizes that it's wrong.
Yes, you see, there's
He doesn't act on it.
Okay, hang on, he does act on it.
Mentally, is that?
No, even mentally he acts on it. What's he doing at that moment?
But just because you're on diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu.
You know, you see something interesting. How did you evaluate and come to the conclusion that you would be tempted?
Yes, but this is what we're busy with now.
Because the secular mind wouldn't have any regard.
No, but
they wouldn't even classify it as
I asked this question
Yes.
in conjunction with the stealing process.
Okay, this is what I want to get.
And Billy said to Chris, God puts a seal on you and says, that's
He
mine.
just used a word that I want you to think about. Sealing what? You used it, God. What was that word?
Process.
Process. Is that how it's called? Process.
Yeah, probably.
There's a process in the sealing. And so, God, let's use God. He's really jumped out in the flames today. God sees somebody coming along. He's distracted. Immediately his mind is activated. Now remember, when does God place the seal? Look at Ezekiel chapter 9. And I want you to look at verse 4. Ezekiel 9 verse 4. And we compare this in a sense to the seal that the devil gives you. Okay? Go throughout the city of Jerusalem and put a mark where?
On the door.
This is Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. On the foreheads. Now why does the seal get put here and not on the arm and not on your foot?
Because that's where your
That's
meta,
where God puts his son.
that's
Yeah,
where
but why
your,
does he put it there?
where your metanoia is, where you make your decisions.
This is where the frontal lobes of your brain. What makes you different between anything else is you make a decision. God sees somebody. Whoa! But in the process of what's going on now, if he wasn't worried about it, he wouldn't make a decision here. Now, the decision that he's making for or against what he's going to do is made right here. Now listen to what God just said in Ezekiel chapter 7. I will deal with them, this is in verse 27 again, I will deal with them according to their conduct. It doesn't say I'm going to decide, I don't like you or I like you. No, he's saying you are choosing. Your conduct is determining how I'm going to respond.
Sure.
Listen to what it says
Can
further.
I just use an example here?
Yes.
Jesus went out into the desert.
Yeah.
And the devil tried to tempt him. But is it not going back to that old story before where the devil's the one that's trying to tempt you, trying to lead you astray, but God is the one who's protecting you. So
God's working with you.
at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Jesus obviously had a seal on him because, and he was tempted and he chose not to go that way, although the tempting still came.
Okay, but hang on.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So it's a matter of, these things are still going to cross your path on a daily basis, and it's still your choice to say, well,
Whether you walk it or
Okay,
not.
listen.
Whether you walk there or not.
Listen
you
to
make
this.
the
First of all,
decision, yeah.
let's use your child. I need to get you to understand something. You will say to your child, don't touch. When they want to touch, you'll smack the hand. Don't touch, you'll smack the hand. But then sometimes we create a pattern in the child's mind. Not that the child's made a decision, but if I put my hand on, if I'm going to go, I'm going to get a snack. And we do what Pavlov did with all his dogs. He would take a whole group of dogs, give them food, ring a bell. And so when they heard the bell, they would associate that now they're going to get food. And would ring a bell, food, ring a bell, food, ring a bell, food. And then finally, he would take the food away and he would ring the bell. What do you think the dogs started to do? They start salivating because they're expecting food. Now, a lot of us are programmed like that in the world. I'm going to show you. This is where the devil does something different. God, the devil programs you. God doesn't program you. He's saying, okay, you're making the choice. I'm not going to, you see, we can use the word tempt in a sense to form a program. Whereas God doesn't tempt anybody. But He's allowing you. He's saying, what did He do with Adam and Eve? He put a tree in the garden and said, don't eat from this tree. All He was saying is, you must make the decision. But if they had, let's say for example, let's hypothetically look at the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. Eve is at the tree. The temptation comes, eat from the tree. She says, no thanks, and walks away. Do they take the tree away?
No.
Okay.
Just a quick question about that. Adam and Eve tasted what it was like to be in eternity, didn't they?
They knew what it was like, yes.
You see, we have not.
Not yet.
Jesus also, when He walked upon this, He was God. He knew exactly what it was like to be in eternity.
Hang on.
With no time, with no, what's the name?
Yeah, must have.
Because
You see, we cannot even fathom eternity.
Just show the verse, that's good. Carry on.
We cannot even fathom eternity because our minds aren't built like that. And so we just see what is in our time period on planet Earth.
What is your time period?
When I die, I'm dead.
Okay, when?
He's scoring 10.
Well, normally, normally 70, 75, 70 years.
Probably you can say 3 scores and 10. You know, it's like you look at other people. That's like, you know, that's your everyday life.
Is
Are you ready for that day that you die?
in your
No, you're not.
And this is
You know, so I always say,
your chemical makeup in the brain.
I'm ready for the day and being afraid of that.
say it is. Then
But it's
you don't have so
what
much
you do
involved
with that look.
when that time comes.
Is
I don't think it's God's will to kill us. It's not.
I want to respond. First of all,
I mean, He gives and He takes.
check nobody's googling it. Now you confused them.
no, I want to get a verse. Sometimes I just can't get my finger right on it, but I want to give you something. When God created Adam and Eve, were we also separated from Him?
No.
Or do we, in some sense, still inherit? They had eyes, we have eyes. They had feet, we have feet. So, in a sense, we're not walking away from not knowing eternity. There's a verse, I just can't get my hand on it right now, but it says, God has placed within man's heart eternity. But the problem is that we don't know what that is anymore. But He's placed it in our hearts.
But sometimes you can wait till lessons and think
It's eternal. Yeah. So we tend to, what I want to come back to, we can say that we don't know what eternity is because of the fact that we die after 70 or 80 or odd years. We die. So, but it doesn't mean that we don't think, wow, you know, I mean, why do we fight death so much if death was an aspect we understood? We still fight it. We still, even I've been to many people who are busy dying off, they don't say I'm giving up and I'm going because this is what happens. But we accept it. But in our minds we say, man, this shouldn't be happening. So in some sense, why do we even accept religion or the cross of Calvary? In a sense, because it's offering us the opportunity of eternity again. So somehow, it's not that we don't know about it, it's just that we haven't experienced it yet. But Adam and Eve, because, let me ask you this, if you had to use eternity to measure, or time to measure eternity, and Adam was over 900 years and we are 70, who experienced eternity more? Adam, without question. It's a longer period. So, Adam was never designed to die. He could have lived forever. But he chose. Now I want to come back, because we got sidetracked slightly. I want to come back to this process that happens with us every day. You see, I want you to understand that you mustn't think that God's going to come down one day and all of a sudden go, oh, Chris, here I am. Now let's see. Oh, and I'll make you sealed and not sealed. No. You are moment by moment, listen to the words of Ezekiel again. You are moment by moment in the way in which you decide to do something. You are actually determining your fate. So it says there, I will deal with them according to their conduct. Okay, now how do I find out a person's conduct? And basically what it's saying, I'm determining your conduct is a revelation of the decision you made here. The reason you came to the meeting today was you made a decision early on, I'm going to be here at the meeting. So your conduct reveals something that actually took place in your brain somehow. Some of us come here on Thursday mornings expecting it to be Wednesday mornings, but it's not. But your conduct is decided here. Now, using golf, the lady comes along, he looks. His conduct is going to be determined by what he decides. And he decides, my wife's going to beat me up, don't look anymore, and he looks away. His conduct has been determined by a decision. No matter what the motivation was for that decision, the decision was made here. And I want you to understand that fear is not the best motivation factor, but we use it 9 out of 10 times to discipline our children. To actually get them to do something that we feel is right, we put the fear of God in them. I brought you into the world.
I'll take you out.
And I will take you out. Yes. You know, the concept is that, and I don't want us to get, the Bible says, fear God.
That's the only person.
And but hang on, what does it mean? It means that when you make a decision, think. Now, people who don't believe in God, they're not scared of Him. But He does say, I'm coming back. And I am going to deal with you according to your conduct. Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully, because a lot of people make out that God just can't wait to come and beat you up. You know, they have this concept that, you know, I've been a really loving God, but you stepped over the line, I'm going to, you know, we have this impression. Then He should have done that with the devil in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, was the devil stronger than God? No ways.
Yeah.
So God, in a sense, when we see that God steps back in this picture, people look at God and say, oh, shame, you know, he's a little, you know. Not really. People think that because God hasn't come yet, that, you know, He's just allowing everybody just to carry on. It's not. He's actually saying, when I come back, I have to deal with you according to your decision. Listen to what I'm saying to you. And it doesn't just stop there. And by their own standards, I will judge them. He doesn't say, by my standard, I will judge them, because that's unfair.
In other words, what you're saying, if you're a mass murderer, and I'm being
Yes.
exaggerated,
Yes.
you're a mass murderer, but you really believe there's nothing wrong with it, you will judge you according to what you believe.
So what is a judgment going to be on a mass murderer? No, what's a judgment going to be? What's he going to receive when God comes? He's received, okay, let's jump back
Well, a mass
again.
murderer murders, so
I
he's
want
going to
you
receive
to notice
what
something
he
here.
does. He's going to get murdered.
I want you to notice that your decision, a mass murderer chooses to kill, to kill, to kill. What's going to happen to him? What is he decided? What you sow, you will reap. Jesus makes a comment when Peter chops off the ear of the bloke that's in the garden there. He says, put away the sword. Those who take up the sword will die by the sword.
True.
And what he's actually saying there is that what you have decided to be the thing will be the conclusion. What do we pray in the Lord's Prayer? Forgive us our sins as we forgive others. Now, that's a scary thing. Have you ever considered that? That God is going to forgive you according to the way that you forgive. And if you don't forgive, guess what God's going to do? He's not going to forgive either. That's the standard. But who set the standard? You set it.
So basically, we're sealing ourselves.
Finally he's come to the thing. The sealing process is an actual fact. You have decided which course you are taking. And God, all that God is doing is saying, okay, I have concluded, because He comes along and He puts little things in the way that He's trying to figure out, how are you thinking?
Can I just say something, Billy? I've been going to church for a long time now. I've never ever heard this said in church like this. Why not?
Well, I think it's recorded now, so take it. What I want you to understand is this.
Is it not in terms of that process, I think when you in your own mind get to the point where you know, hang on,
the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah, but
this is the way I should be going. So if I'm faced with that situation, I know exactly what the outcome is going to be of that situation. And if I take that risk and I go and do that, whether that's the consequences of that, or if I turn left and I go the other way, is that not
sealing?
The process of this is to get to the point where you know the difference between the right and the wrong, and you choose which way to go.
Okay, can I? Yes.
I just want to. I think what us from reading Paul's book, Romans chapter 7. I think first of all he wrote it in Rome when he was at the end of his life. So he was about to face execution. It was towards the end of his ministry, and this is not just the other day's conversion that he was converted. He was riding towards a long walk with God, and this is how he expresses what's going on. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am of the flesh, sold under sin. For I do not understand my own actions. For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Then he says, O wretched man I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord. The thing is, temptation, if I'm sealed and if I'm a child of God, I will still have temptation as long as there's a devil. Until the day that he's destroyed, temptation will be there.
Well, until you die, what does when you die, obviously you can't tempt a person's dead anymore, he's dead. But listen, I don't want us to go, just stick with me. I want us to go to, just to look at Proverbs chapter 7. And I want you to, if any of you got that, now remember Solomon is writing to his son. And the objective of his writing is to try and prevent his son from experiencing things personally which he's experienced already. So for example, they say a fool learns from his own mistakes, but a wise person learns from somebody else's mistakes. And chapter 7. So here's Solomon, and what's the heading if you have a heading there? The crafty harlot.
Warning against the adulteress.
Warning against the adulteress. Now listen to this. There's a sign coming up. Warning against what? Yours, and I can say crafty. What? Harlot, which is a whore. Crafty person. Now, listen to this woman. I just want to show you something. And I want you to pick up something. This is Solomon speaking. He says, and I want you to notice this, verse 6. At the window of my house, I looked out through the lattice. I saw among the simple. Listen to the words now. Now, when you hear the word simple, what do you expect that actions of that person to be? When I'm using the word simple, I'm not using the word simple as in innocent. I'm using the word as in a bit simple.
Yeah.
You know, in Afrikaans, yes, simple. Okay. It's a bit, you are not thinking. Okay, that's what it means. Okay. I saw among the simple. I noticed among the young men a youth with what's it say there? Who lacked devoid of understanding, who lacked judgment. That means he comes to something but he's got no idea where he's walking into. He's lacking judgment. Okay, it says then further, he was going down the street near her corner. Now, I want you to notice the story, and I mean, you can imagine this. He's walking along, minding his own business, but his brain is not operating. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't want it to be recorded almost, but sometimes we think with the wrong head.
Yes.
Okay, so he's walking down the road, and he's going past her house.
corner.
Her corner, okay. Red light. Immediately when you see a red light, what should you do? Stop. Okay. Some people put their foot down and they go. I want you to notice. Near a corner, walking along in the direction of her house. Already there should be signs flashing up. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. But he's walking along oblivious of what's going on. At twilight. I mean, normally at twilight, you know, it's the worst time. When I was in the army, twilight was a bad time of the day. Because you can't determine shapes properly. You know, you see trees and then you think they're people. And then people are really there, but you think they're trees. And it's a dangerous time. It's the twilight. There's not enough light and there's not enough darkness. It's confusing. It's twilight. He's not clear. He can't see clearly. Twilight. As the day was fading, as the dark of night set in. Now this is already scary. Day is fading, dark is coming. What do you expect usually when the dark comes? That's when the spooks come out and all kind of gremlins come out. That's when you start worrying. But during the day, you're not worried. Then it says further. I mean, listen to Solomon. He's talking. He's saying, my son, I want to warn you. If you're simple-minded, watch out. Then he says, then out came a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute and with crafty intent. Now, what's her, when he uses the word crafty there, who also was crafty in the beginning? The devil. It says he was the craftiest, which means his intent was to capture. But he doesn't capture you by grabbing you, he captures you by saying choose.
Yeah, God, boobs for your missus.
So, it carries on, it says there. She is loud and defiant, and her feet never stay at home. I mean, so even if you do get her and you think, I love you, you're the best thing in the world, what do you know she's going to do when you're going on it? This is what she says there. She meets him, she took hold of him, verse 13. Okay, I've left out a few things. And kissed him, and with a brazen face, she said, now this is brazen. Have you ever told something, like you know you're doing something wrong with you? Hey, would you do this? You know, brazen, it means it's unmoved. Brazen face. I have peace offerings at home. Today I have fulfilled my vows. So I came out to meet you. I looked for you and have found you. I have covered my bed with colored linen from Egypt. I perfumed my bed and with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us drink deep of love till morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. My husband is not at home. Usually a man won't go to blood if his husband's at home. You know, normally what happens when the husband arrives, they jump in the cupboard. You understand? Okay. He took his purse, filled with money, and he's gone in his own journey, maybe doing his own thing. Verse 21. With persuasive words she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. All at once he followed her, like an ox to what? Now you see, and you carry on reading there, it says, this journey that you're taking there ends in death. It can be pleasant, but you're going to die. So, God comes along and he's saying that I'm not doing any tempting. The devil is. But the way in which you are deciding the direction, I know now. I mean, so what is Jesus doing in the garden? When he's out in the desert, when he's tempted? God wasn't tempting him. The devil was. But God was observing, because what was happening is that the process of the sealing was taking place. And God was observant and watching his son. And what was his son constantly doing? Choosing right. Choosing right. Choosing right. The father said, wow, I know which direction he's going. The interesting thing, let's go to that. Go with me to Matthew. I'm going to show you this because the process is already happening. It's already happening around you. Go to Matthew. Let's go to the temptation of Christ. I want you to listen to something that's very interesting. The devil does not stop doing what he's doing, but sometimes you get a break. Matthew chapter 4. And I want you to look, he goes through all the temptations, but I want you to notice finally it's all over. Verse 10, then we get verse 11. So the temptations have come. And in the temptations, Christ says, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do it. It is written. It is written. What's he using to make up his mind? God said, don't do that, so I don't do it. God said, don't do that, so I don't do it. God said, don't do it. And the word says it's a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. So when we come across this trial, Christ was just answering, and by the process of what he was doing, he was determining his seal. But it didn't stop. So after the 3 temptations, listen to what it says in verse 11. Then the devil left him. Now, can we say that happy ever after? No.
And the angels came
and ministered him. So we have this interesting thing there, that this was a process that he had to go through, but the journey is not finished. The only time it was finished was when he was hanging on the cross, and he said, it is finished. And at that moment, the decision was final. You can throw everything at me. I have made up my mind. But remember, the process started early. So, by the way, now listen to what's happening. Sometimes we're walking here, we come across this path, and we do go along the wrong way. And, whoa, wake up and you, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. And then you go, so okay, you fell there. But that's not the end of the warfare yet. You still got maybe another 20 years ahead of you. Are you going to do the same stupid thing again? Now, sometimes what happens to us, if you broke into a bank and you stole the money and you got away with it, I think you're going to break into a bank.
You're going to try and do it again.
You're going to do it because you didn't get your reward straight away. Now, sometimes we don't get what we deserve straight away, and that is dangerous because somehow we think we get away with it. But the wages of sin, end result of that, is not because God's going to come and chop off your head. The end result of walking in that direction is you will die.
But I think also he wants you to see how far you go down that path, to see if you on your own.
No. Never wants you to go down that path.
No. I'm saying if you're already on a path yourself, now say you're going down a path, and God notices, I think He's not going to just immediately punish you for it. He's going to say, "Oh, it's
man, He's going to lead you to your decision." You see,
that's what I'm saying.
That's
if you turn around on your own, you may get punished less.
You see, if God does interfere right there, then you haven't made up your mind. It's like with your child. Sometimes you will stop your child from touching the stove, but guess what your child's going to do a little while later?
But just I do believe He puts warning signs out here.
Oh yes. Okay, but
it's whether you want to.
But I want you to understand, gentlemen. I'm not talking to children. Now, if I was talking to a child, my advice to you, if you've got children, the first thing your child should learn to do before it can even think with its brain is be obedient. Do you understand? Because normally the parents has got the well-being of the child in view. The child doesn't know that. The child thinks you're trying to stop them from having a sweet or something. They want to do, but they don't know that, but you know. So what's the child going to just do? Listen! You understand?
Yeah.
But there does come a time when that child jumps out of being a child and says, I can choose now. Now they leave your home. You hope that by that time there's some sense there. So that when the problem comes to them, you'll be on your knees praying, Lord, please let me make the right decision. Because now you can't smack them anymore. You now are actually relying on their own judgment, not yours anymore. Now this is what God's doing. God is relying on your judgment, not in His. He's saying, I've told you all along, but man, you choose now. And listen, please, let me show you something. Let's first carry on. I'm going to end with something that's going to show you. Ezekiel chapter 9, which is right after Ezekiel chapter 8. It's just before. Ezekiel chapter 9. We have a very interesting thing taking place. Now I want you to notice that in Ezekiel chapter 7 the heading was the end has come. It's basically it there. And I want you to almost play with me in this sense, in God's eyes, before he can come, basically there needs to be an end. Don't you agree?
Yes.
There needs to be an end story. The end. Now when you say the end, it means there's nothing carrying on after that. That is the end. Full stop.
The line in the sand.
So, somehow in God's mind, there needs to be a place where He says, the end. Now, from that point on, either you are a sheep or a goat. Either you're saved or lost. Because the end is coming. It's not still, oh, okay, you're still making up your mind. The end's coming. No. The end has come. Now, in our lives, when we die, the end has come. The full stop has been put there. That's the end.
And that's how you seal.
That's how you seal. But if you're still living like us, then how does God draw the line and say the end? The end, because it'll be something like He's doing this. The end. Okay, so watch people. The end. Oh, wish I would stop procreation. The end. Man, these people are really breeding like anything. You know, it's like, when is the end going to come? So when is this end going to come? Now the brilliance of this, God says, the interesting thing about this is that the end's going to come when you've made up your mind. But you will make up your mind, for good or for bad. But how does He activate this process? So I want you to notice now that the conditions, or the way that God says, He says, I'm going to draw the end according to your actions. Okay, are you with me? Now, I was going to go to Ezekiel now, but just jump with me back to the flood. And I want you to notice how God determines the end of the flood. I mean, what is always interesting to me is that sooner or later, in the time of the antediluvians, the people before the flood, He had to put a full stop somewhere. Even though people carry on, as it says, as it was in the days of Noah, they married and gave in marriage, and they continued on. You understand? But somehow God, in His mind, sitting on His throne up in heaven, had to say, full stop's right there. And He does. Genesis chapter 6.
Chapter 6,
verse 3. The Lord said, my spirit will not contend with man forever. What are we already picking up on this? He's saying, there is going to come a time in my own mind when I'm going to say, that's enough. Are you with me so far? And then He says, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. Now what has God just done with 120 years? He's just put a full stop somewhere in time. From when I've made my decision to when the full stop will be 120 years. Now, how does He determine that? Look at what He says, and I want you to go down to verse 5. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on earth had become. Now what's He doing? Is He making you wicked, or are you becoming wicked?
Becoming.
Okay, so they're becoming wicked. And then it says there, the Lord says something, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. Tell me now, can you seal now? If you see a person's constantly choosing that direction, what can you in the end say?
Full stop.
Gentlemen, I've said it already. I've had men come to me. I had an experience where a man came to me. He loved watching porn. When he went down to the beach, he would watch all the women. He was a married man and a divorced man. Found out it was on the basis of adultery. He was still involved with women. He was remarried to another woman. she was unhappy and she was jealous because he was watching another woman. She had a right to be jealous. God says, I'm a jealous God because you're looking at other gods. She had a right. I brought them in, I counseled them, I said, you know what I'm picking up? I see a thread here. I see a line in your thinking. This is not something that's just happening now. You've been on this journey for a while. And I said, you know what? I've got some bad news for you, but you need to stop this journey. If you don't make a decision now, it's gone. And he went, and he got divorced from his wife and got involved. And I'm telling you, I'm not God, but I can tell you where that man's going. I've seen his journey. And he's making no attempt to change it. So I'm not clever, I'm not, but I have now, if you had to say to me, Billy, what would you decide? I'll take a piece of paper right on there, he will always be a womanizer, he will always be an adulteress in one. That is what he's thinking. I'll write it on a piece of paper, fold it, put it away, and later on at the end of his life, unless there is this intervention as Paul was bringing out in Romans 7, unless God, because I'm going to show you something about God. God doesn't leave you, he purifies you. Do you understand? God doesn't leave you to carry on in the way you do. He changes your thinking. That's what the word repentance means in the Greek. Change your thinking. God, through a process that is so incredible, actually gets you to think eternal.
Exactly.
Good conscience.
Huh?
Well,
the
conscience is what we hear. We should have taken that.
Place it in your thinking. So what's starting to happen now, you might be a person that was like kind of drifting in a dark and you say, whoa, that's like, you know, so you're learning. The Spirit of God takes that information and He writes it on our hearts so that when we do actually make our decisions, we're making it right. Now let me just finish off. Ezekiel chapter 9. Let's go right back there. So God is not, you know, the fearful thing to me, and I want to say something about planet Earth that I'm still excited about. Somehow on planet Earth, the thoughts of mankind are not evil all the time. Now isn't that brilliant? Because if it was just evil all the time, then I think we can put the full stop there and say, welcome.
120 years or whatever it is.
Okay? And Ezekiel chapter 9. Now I want you to know, Ezekiel chapter 9 talks about this process. And God calls, first of all, you'll see there, He calls 6 men with weapons in their hands.
Which verse? Ezekiel 9?
That's verse 1. I'm just paraphrasing, but verse 1, it brings in, He says, those 6 men, and they come and they've got weapons in their hands, and they stand there. And then there's this other little fellow that comes along, and he doesn't have a weapon, but he has, as it says, and this is verse 2, he has a writer kit at his side. So he has something in his hand, and I would like to almost use it. It's verse 2 of Ezekiel 9. He has in his hand a little cokie. And he comes and he stands there. Now, the people with weapons in their hand and the bloke with the cokie. Now, who do you think you would like? Who do you want? Which person do you want to approach you? The bloke with the cokie or the people with the weapons? Okay, now I've got bad news for you. You're going to be approached by the cokie person first. And that will determine if the bloke with the weapons are coming. Okay. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
So when he approaches you, don't mess around with him. Because the blokes with the weapons are coming. So when he comes with you, listen. Think a little bit. Now listen to what he says. God comes down, and this is his process of trying to get something done. He comes down. Then the Lord, this is verse 3, called to the man clothing linen. So he calls to him first. Thank you. He calls to him first, which means that God is not going to just wipe people out just because he wants to wipe them out. He's going to say, hang on, we're not going to wipe them out unless they want to be wiped out. Did you hear that?
Another chance.
Yes, you people are going to decide you want to wipe. So if the bloke with the right arm comes to you, and you don't want to be wiped out, listen to the bloke with the pen. Don't listen to the bloke with the sword. Listen to the bloke with the pen. So he comes in there. Then the Lord said to the man, go throughout the city of Jerusalem, that means start where my capital is, and put a mark on the foreheads of those. Now listen to what it says there. Who receives the mark? Any old person? Okay, no, but what's it say? What must you do in order to receive the mark? What does your thinking be like?
Those who grieve and lament.
Those who grieve
and lament.
And lament over what?
For the evil that's been done.
So somehow you are aware, man, the poor people or the widows are being killed. You are aware of wickedness. You see it in action. And your reaction is not, yay, jumping into it and having fun with it. Your reaction is, wow, what's going on, man? This is not acceptable. This shouldn't be as it is. So you see, there is a counteract against wickedness, and you are the counteragent. You don't walk with it, you're against it. Doesn't mean you're going to win, you know, I mean, you still decide, you people decide. But hey, as for me, thank you, I'm not interested in that. You can do it if you want to do it, but I'm not interested. You see, your mindset has, hey, I don't want to be part of that. You can do that, but you know the danger is, you might be slipped into doing it if you haven't made up your own mind. Monkey see, monkey do. Peer pressure. We have all of those little things that come out. I mean, they interviewed a group of young boys who raped a young girl. They interviewed them separately. And it was shocking to find out that some of them, that some of them raped her just because everybody was raping her. It was like, you know, there's just the animal just came out. Where was his brain? Now, the word says that now this bloke's going to come, and he says, the bloke who sighs and cries about sin, I'm going to place my seal on his forehead. So God says the bloke who doesn't like sin, I want that bloke in my kingdom one day. The bloke who likes it, I'm not interested in him. So God is at this moment selecting by your choice who he's going to have there. And then it says, and as I listened, he said to the others, those are blokes you, follow him. Don't go ahead of him. Through the city and kill without showing pity or compassion. And then he says, start my sanctuary. But then I want you to go right down, and I want you to notice what verse 11 says. The man in living with the righteous kid at his side brought back words saying, I've done as you've commanded. So you see, I want you to understand something that's happening. There is a sealing process, if you like it or don't like it, it's happening. Your decision every day that you're making for good or for evil is determining that seal. And one day the writer is going to come back and say, I've visited each person, done what you've said, I've sealed. And the blokes with the weapons are going to come behind. And those who have not received the seal, scripture. Now I want you to notice, I'm going to show you this in Revelation 9. That there comes a time that there will be calamities on planet Earth that we have never seen before. But those who have received the seal, they will be in the midst of it, nothing will happen to them.